So to do some image formation with lenses, we're going to be using this optical bench. It's got sliding carriages and a ruled scale on the side so you can read the position of the objects mounted in the carriages. Right now I've got a screen mounted at 0 and we can drop a lens in like this and we'll look at forming an image on the screen back here. Right now the bench is pointing out the window over here so we can see the trees through the window, and you notice I have a small light set up on the lower right corner of the window. So let's take a look at the image we get with this lens. So if you watch the image on the screen, as I move the lens in closer, we can see the image start to form. And if I set the lens right about here, so you make sure the camera is focused on the screen. On the screen right now, I can see a pretty clearly focused image of the distant trees and the clouds outside. So because those objects are nice and far away, the object distance is essentially infinite, or at least very large enough that we can pretend that, we can say they're very far away. So that means the image distance is going to be equal to the focal length. So looking at the carriage down here, the image distance is just the distance from the lens to the screen. And we can see the screen is mounted at 0 centimeters on the scale, and the lens is at 6.1 centimeters. So the image distance here is 6.1 centimeters. And we can just pick an arbitrary feature on the image to measure its size. Here, we'll just do the vertical height of the window image, and it looks like it's right about 1.5 centimeters, maybe 1.6. So that's lens number 1. We'll now repeat this process for lens number 2. If I put this in place on the bench, you can see the beginnings of the image forming back here, but it's pretty out of focus. This lens has a longer focal length, so if I move it back to about right here is where I get the distant trees in focus. I'm going to turn the lights down a little bit so we can see the image a little more clearly. So it's a little faint because there's a lot of light coming through the window and not a lot of it is making it through the lens. But we have our image here on the screen, and now if I measure the height of the window, let's see, I can shade that a little. Looks like maybe about 6 centimeters or so. And the image distance is quite a bit more with this lens. The second lens, the screen is still at 0, and the lens is now at 17.6 centimeters. So the image distance and the focal length of this lens is 17.6 centimeters. And now for our final lens, number 3. This one's quite a bit bigger, so it'll let a lot of light through. Let's see, the focal length is longer though, so I'm going to have to move it out. And if you watch the screen, getting the trees in focus right about there. And just adjust this to get the window all on the screen. Okay, so now we can check the image size with lens number 3. Just measuring up and down across the middle. We're at about 12.5 centimeters now. And for the image distance and focal length of lens number 3, you can see the screen is still at 0 centimeters. And the lens is at 39.8 centimeters. It's probably a little hard to see, but there's a small tick mark on the scale right about there, and it's pointing to 39.8 centimeters.